DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Let's talk about the two most important things about you at work. I'm gonna tell you up front what the two things are, then we'll dive into why these are the two most important things for you at work in your business, the place that you get paid money to do things, or you're trying to get paid. Number one, your performance. Everybody understands the word performance. And number two, the results that your performance produces. Those are the two most important things about you at work. Now, why am I saying this? Some of you might be listening to that and saying, well, Dre, isn't that pretty obvious that those are the two most important things about you at work? I'm not so sure. I mean, let's look at what's going on in the world right now. You got a lot of people, most recently in NFL, you've had a couple people, black people, or at least partially black people, claiming that they don't have their job because they're black, and they're completely disowning how much their performance or the results of their performance played a role in where they ended up as far as their job goes. Now, most recently it was the football coach with the Miami Dolphins, Brian Flores, black guy, said he didn't get hired because he's black. And then what's crazy is a black guy got hired for the Houston team, and Brian Flores puts out a statement and says, well, the only reason I didn't get the job is because I had sued the NFL. I'm like, dude, a black guy got hired for the job. Your whole thing was hiring black people for the job. A black guy got hired and you made it about you, which kind of undermines his whole argument. He should have said, hey, great that the NFL hired a black guy because that's what we want to see. He should have been happy for the black guy, but he made it about himself. But that's a different conversation. It's not really about that. What I want y'all to understand is that when you show up to work, or you show up to a place of business, let's understand what business is, first of all. Business is the exchange of resources between people. Usually, in my experience in business, being from back when I was working at places like McDonald's and the movie theaters as a teenager, to being a professional athlete, playing basketball overseas, to starting my own business and being an entrepreneur, and even in between that, selling my own programs online and stuff like that, before I even really understood what I was doing entrepreneurially, is understanding that usually nobody is going to exchange their resources, i.e. their money, for your resources, usually your product or service offering, unless there is something in that product or service that's going to help them get what they want. Right? Everybody logically understands that people will only give you what you want if you can help them get what they want. I mean, that's a simple concept, right? To paraphrase a late great sales trainer, a guy by the name of Zig Ziglar. Some of y'all know about him. Many of you might not. He's been dead for a while now, but he did sales training. He always say that if you help enough people get what they want, you can get everything that you want. Which is simple, right? You give people something, they give you something. But if you're not giving them anything, then you shouldn't expect anything in exchange. So what does that have to do with what I'm talking about here? Number one thing that you have to do at work is you must perform at a certain level, because nobody's going to pay you if you have not proven or at least demonstrated on some level that you can perform the way that they want you to perform. If you're trying to, for example, I played basketball overseas for almost a decade. If you're trying to play basketball overseas and you can't show the coach that you can box out and grab a rebound, or run the pick and roll, or make an open jump shot in practice, then you're probably not going to get in the game. And if you don't get in the game often enough, the coach might say, well, look, get this guy out of here and get somebody on the team who I might actually put in the game who can help us win some competitions, right? That's a simple enough concept. So number one thing about you at work is your ability to perform. You have to show that you can perform. And the second thing is the results of your performance. The results of your performance, usually, hopefully, any job that you work at, it is very clear and is laid out in a way that everyone can understand. Here's how your performance is going to be measured. Notice that? Here's how your performance is going to be measured, i.e. the results. We want you to produce this type of result. If you're playing sports, you probably need to win games. If you're in sales, of course, you need to make the sales calls. You need to be scheduling the appointments. You got to make the presentations. And then, of course, you want those sales presentations to turn into revenue in dollars. So you could be doing a whole lot of performing, at least by your standards, but if those performances are not producing the desired results, you might still get fired. This happens in sales. You could be on a basketball team and think you're doing your thing. I hear from basketball players all the time, not usually at the pro level, but let's say high school, college level, and they feel like they're really good players. They'll say something like, Dre, I come to every practice, I'm working out all the time, I do all the off-season workouts, I feel like I've shown enough game, but I'm not really getting in the game. Well, that's because the boss, person who makes the decisions, which is not you, the coach, might believe, or it looks like they believe, you aren't able to produce the results that they want, so you're not getting the kind of opportunities that you feel like you deserve. And if you're not getting them, either you can step your performance up a little bit more so that you can convince the coach that you are a person who can produce results, or maybe you need to go somewhere else, take your talents elsewhere to where maybe it will be appreciated a little bit more and you will get the opportunities that you want. But understand it's a combination of both your performance and the results that you produce. I want you to notice something that I didn't say here, or something that I'm not saying is the most important part about what you do at work. It is not about your identity, any type of identity, whatever ways you identify yourself. So whether we're talking your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, your nationality, your religion, none of those things is the most important thing about you at work. And the reason why I'm emphasizing this is because we all know these days a lot of people are emphasizing these things to use them as excuses. They don't call them excuses, they call them reasons or prejudices, but they're actually using them as excuses to cover up their lack of either performance, results, or both. If you're not performing or producing results, or you're not doing either one, then you may default to, and this is what a lot of people are doing, I don't agree with this, but this is what's happening. They are defaulting to, oh, well, I'm not getting the opportunity because I'm a female, or because I'm black, or because I'm this religion, or because I'm from this country, or because people have prejudice against me because of some other thing that makes them some type of victim that's being marginalized because of whatever. That people are coming up with all different types of ways. People are getting very creative with this stuff these days. And again, I don't even have to detail that to you. You already see it. Hopefully none of you are using it, but you all know exactly what I'm talking about. The reason why I'm saying this here in this video is for all you to understand that those excuses that you might try to cover up by calling reasons, those excuses are not acceptable. If you don't perform, then it makes perfect sense that you're not getting the job, you're not getting the phone call, nobody's wanting you on their team, and you might end up in a job but then out of a job because your performance just hasn't been high enough. The results you produce just haven't been good enough. And this is just what it is. This is the game that we're in, folks. We are in a performance and a results-based business. This is not an identity-based business. It's not a race-based business. It is not a gender-based business. It's not a sexual orientation-based business, or, again, whatever the other things that everybody's coming up with. It is based on how you perform and the results that you produce. And if you feel like you are not getting the fair shake that you deserve, this is something that I've been telling athletes for over a decade. So none of this is brand new, by the way, just in case any of you are not that familiar with me. Nothing I'm saying here is brand new. I've been telling athletes for over a decade, if you're on a basketball team, for example, we'll just use basketball, and you're not getting in the game as much as you want to get in the game, or you tried out for the team and you feel like you did your thing, but you didn't make the team anyway, so you feel like you're just being unfairly treated. Here's the thing. You got a couple options. You can either A, go talk to the people who you feel like are not seeing what they need to see and find out how you can show them what they need to see so you can get your right opportunity. B, you can go to the person who is in charge of making those decisions and say, hey, what do I need to do so that I can show you what you need to see? Because clearly it appears you're not seeing the thing that I think I'm showing you. Conversation. Or C, shut the hell up and keep working. Which means shut the hell up and keep working either means stay in the spot you are in and keep working and the opportunity will find you, or it could also mean go somewhere else where you might not be getting the opportunity where you're at right now, but if you take your same skill set, if you really are as good as you think you are, and you take it somewhere else, you'll get the opportunity and you'll finally get paid what you want to get paid, and you'll finally get the job that you want to get, and you'll get in the game as much as you want to get in the game, and your teammates will pass you the ball because the teammates on this team aren't passing you the ball. This is not brand new. Like, this is stuff I've been talking about this stuff since like 2008. It's been more than a decade. So if you ever feel like your performance and your results, or at least one of the two, are good enough for more opportunity than you're currently receiving, you either go talk to the person who is clearly not seeing what you see, or look, just keep working, keep putting your time in. Maybe you got to put a little bit more time in to get the result that you want, or take your skills elsewhere and prove it. Again, this is a performance and results-based business. Performance and results are not based on anybody's opinion. Those are based on hardcore. We can just look at it black and white. The data decides, and the data says this person did this. This person scored this many points. This team won this many games. Ain't no argument to that. All right, there's no opinion that can stop something that's clearly black and white like that. And this is something that I talked about in my book, Work on Your Game, that if you put out something, I told this story from DJ Khaled back before he was even as popular as he is right now. There was a time when there was a rapper who had put a song out, and the rapper felt like Khaled was kind of hating and not playing his songs. And Khaled responded to the rapper by saying, look, if you would just go make a hit record, then there's nothing I can do to stop it. If you feel like I'm hating on you, go make a hit record. Because if you make a hit record, the fans, the listeners of music, will demand that every DJ in the world play that record. So even if I hate you, I still got to play your record, because a hit record can't be stopped. And it's the same thing that I want y'all to understand about yourselves. If you want you to analogize your work to being a musician, every DJ in the world could hate you. But if you make a hit record, even though they hate you, when they go do a party, or if they're working on the radio, they got to play your song. Why? Because all the listeners are going to be like, yo, play that song that everybody wants to hear. They got to play the song. They can hate you personally. They still got to play your record. Why? Because the hit record is performing and producing results. I want you to start looking at yourself and your life in that way. And here's why. Even though some of you might think, well, look, maybe somebody is prejudiced against me. Maybe somebody is trying to hold something against me that has nothing to do with my performance. Hey, maybe you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you. Maybe you're right. But here's the thing. What are you going to do to actually get the outcomes that you want? If that is true, what are you going to do? You going to complain about it? You going to whine about it? You going to cry about it? Or are you going to make your performance so good that the results are undeniable to where you're going to get an opportunity, you're going to get the results you want somewhere, somehow, at some point? Which one is it going to be? And this is a choice that you have to make. So all that said, I want you to text me to get my daily motivation text free of charge straight to your phone every day. My number is 305-384-6894. And you ready to work with me directly? You want to take it to a next level from watching YouTube and my podcast, stuff like that. You ready to go to the next level? And Work on Your Game University, that's where you can work with me directly. I have one-on-one programs. I got group coaching programs. All of those are linked down below. Is workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all